Kyler Murray and Budda Baker are back, and a little Week 7 preview as well. Let's roll.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter at Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Please go to the YouTube channel. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn notifications on. All of it. Leave a comment. You know how we do it here at Locked On Cardinals. Everydayers, thank you for being here. If this is your first listen, thank you for being here. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Prize Picks. The easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code all lowercase LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen each and every day, free wherever you get your podcast. And on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Kyler Murray, Budda Baker are back. That's a good thing. Thank you, Captain Obvious. Maybe not for the Cardinals draft position in the 2024 draft, but I will discuss more in depth about why that doesn't really matter as much as we thought this past offseason when it was up in the air as to when Kyler Murray could return. What is the biggest challenge for the Cardinals going into Sunday? And what's their path to victory? But the first, the most important thing here is K1's back. He's practicing. Not exactly sure when he'll actually be active on game day. A couple weeks from now in Cleveland, maybe. I feel like that would be a very difficult first, task for him coming off the ACL injury. Atlanta the next week, maybe a better target point. But there's a couple things to discuss here. One of which is having a quarterback one for now and for the future who plays at a high level is much more important than where the Cardinals draft with their pick in next year's draft. So I'd much rather see, it's like the anti-tank, I'd much rather see Kyler Murray come out, play excellent football, have the Cardinals win maybe 4 games or something like that, drop to the 8 pick instead of Kyler Murray playing terribly, everything up in shambles and up in the air, and then try to determine if you're going to trade Kyler Murray or not or draft a quarterback in this year's draft. I'd much rather the former because we've seen Kyler Murray play at a Pro Bowl level. He's been a Pro Bowler twice. He won Rookie of the Year once, and that was all under the guise of Cliff Kingsbury and in his ineptitude. Is Kyler Murray going to be great when he comes back? We don't know. You'd expect. We don't know who this new Kyler Murray is. And I can use this reason until proven wrong. And I know that it's kind of a cheat code a little bit because we haven't seen it in play yet. I've talked about it all offseason. We haven't seen him without Cliff Kingsbury. We just haven't. And I am under the expectation or impression, and another word in between that I can't think of right now, that Kyler Murray won despite Cliff Kingsbury, not because of him. We've seen it. We saw it. And what are we going to see with this Kyler Murray, fresh off an ACL tear, first major injury of his career, new head coach, new offense, a defense that's very severely undermanned talent-wise? What can Kyler Murray do right off the jump? The one thing that will happen is this excitement level watching this team will be multiplied by 100, a million, a Google. Isn't that number that is the biggest number in the world? I don't know. I remember my 5th grade me used to say that. Googleplex. I don't know. I used to say no duh a lot back then too, so I wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. Probably still not, but I mask it well. This team has been fun to watch. Maybe not the prettiest football, but the offense has been competent. Joshua Dobbs has been fine. He's regressed the last 2 halves of the last 2 weeks. He was never set to be a Pro Bowler for this offense. And the defense is severely undermanned talent-wise. And this is just where they are on their path to rebuilding this roster. So with Kyler Murray coming back, there are zero downsides to Kyler Murray coming back. Zero. This draft is deep. If you try to plan for the future, keeping players out, things like that, it rarely works to your advantage. That's the Philadelphia 76ers. No, it's not directly correlative because it's a different sport, but still. Zero downsides to Kyler Murray coming back. When is he going to come back? Maybe Cleveland, maybe Atlanta. There's like, you could say, like, you could pick and choose. Oh, well, it's better for Atlanta than Cleveland. No, it's not. It's NFL football at NFL football speed after not playing for, 11 months. That's what it's going to be for him, regardless of where they play and when he starts. If it's at home against a team that doesn't have a great offense or great defense, every team, like if you look at the calendar, the schedule, the Cardinals play good defenses pretty much from here on out. Defense has been reigning supreme this year, aside from, if you're playing Miami. Defense has been king this year. So it doesn't matter if it's Myles Garrett or if it's the Falcons defense or if it doesn't matter. It's going to be a daunting task for a franchise quarterback to come back and be pretty much expected to perform right away. You'll probably get a half of, he's rusty, new offense, maybe a game. And then after that, it's, well, put up or shut up. This is your career on the line. It's not that far-fetched, but that's going to be, so many people. Oh, I told you he wasn't the guy. You're going to get those. Now, having said you'd rather have a top quarterback than a high draft pick, there's no rush to bring him back. It doesn't like, oh, you know what? They're one game out of the NFC West lead. Got to bring him back, maybe rush him a little bit. I think it's time. You got to play him. There's no rush. So it's both. And we're still in this gray area of nobody really knows what the hell's going on. Nobody knows what this team's going to look like next year. Nobody knows what Kyler Murray is going to be like this year. It's like this time in the Arizona Cardinals organizational growth is like the time between Christmas and New Year's when nobody knows what day it is. It's that, where it's like, there's an excuse. Holiday? Am I supposed to work? What day is it? Is it Tuesday? Is it midnight? What's daylight savings? It's just that weird little pocket where nobody knows what really is up and down. Once he starts playing, things will start to come into focus incredibly quickly. Incredibly quickly. Now, pivoting to Budda Baker, Budda Baker's been the leader of this team over Kyler Murray. He's been the leader. He's been the heart and soul. He's been, the heartbeat. Him coming back is massively important. This is something that proves the Cardinals want to win. Now, they will put their best players out there. This isn't going to be a sneaky tank situation. It's not. And maybe that has something, who knows if it has something to do with Carolina being so bad, Chicago being so bad, especially without Justin Fields. They're probably going to get the top two picks, both of them. So maybe because they're out of the running, most likely, for Marvin Harrison Jr. or, whoever it may be, I have no idea. I just don't think that's the case. You get your best players when they're healthy, you play. Budda Baker's played, he was here for 2018. He's played on a bad team before. And giving him his guaranteed money, going back to this offseason where I was pounding the table, pay Budda Baker before it's time. This is why you do it. So he's placated a bit. You pay your star player a little bit to get through this season, and then you skyrocket to the moon next year. And Monty Osborne did that very effectively because it didn't take a whole chunk out of the Cardinals' future draft cap or salary cap space. They made his contract guaranteed this year. Great. And now Budda Baker's ready to fly. He's ready to fly, and the secondary desperately needs him. With that, the biggest challenge going into Seattle, yes, the Cardinals secondary versus Tyler Lockett, even a hobbled DK Metcalf, a hobbled Jackson Smith and Jigba, etc. I will discuss what the Cardinals need to do, if they can do anything, in an effort to not have Geno Smith throw for 400 yards. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Jace Medical. Jace Medical. Okay, so here's the deal. With Jace Medical, you don't want to get caught unprepared, okay? Everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. And that's why they've introduced the Jace case. The Jace case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use. All it takes to get a Jace case is to fill out a simple online form and, in some cases, jump on a quick call with one of our board-certified physicians. Get ongoing care from their physicians on any treatment-related questions, doctor-created, doctor recommended. Jace handles everything from online evaluation to licensed pharmacy medication delivery and ongoing consultation and care. And go to jacemedical.com and don't be unprepared. That's the beautiful part about this. jacemedical.com, promo code locked on. That's JASE medical.com, promo code locked on. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is also brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. You snap into the action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. I mean, FanDuel has right now, listen to this. New customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. And if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get into the action. This is when you're supposed to appreciate football. Remember that. What better way than with FanDuel? The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen. Free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button if you don't mind. If you want to leave a review, Apple, Google Play, whatever it is, say you like seeing my big dumb face, I'd appreciate it. I'm just happy that you're here. The Cardinals have another tall task ahead of them on Sunday. This time, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and a million tight ends. While Kenneth Walker is going to be a problem, as he always is, this secondary they've got their work cut out for him again. Budda Baker coming back will help, but this is where the Arizona Cardinals need to figure out how to maintain, how to stay in games, and how to not get picked apart, either death by 1,000 cuts or by the deep ball with talented wide receivers. And I've talked in previous weeks, definitely last week, about how the pass rush would be the best friend for the Arizona Cardinals. With Myjai Sanders now cut, maybe it gives more time for Cam Thomas off the edge, Zaven Collins. Who knows? This defense needs to figure out how to put pressure on Geno Smith, who isn't a stranger to turning the ball over when pressured. Now, while Kenneth Walker is going to he's just a problem. He's a touchdown machine. He's a problem. I'd much rather watch Kenneth Walker beat the Cardinals than this secondary with Marco Wilson and Antonio Hamilton, etc. just get punished like they did last week. Now, they held their own in the first half, and this has been kind of the motif of the season for the Cardinals. Good first halves, bad second halves. And Cooper Kupp just ate in the second half last week. Now, I don't know if this is adjustments. I don't know if this is Nick Rowles trying to figure out the best way to leverage the talent that they do have, or if it's something in between. But what does need to happen is DK Metcalf can't go 8 for 150 and 2 touchdowns. Tyler Lockett, who's been a Cardinals killer for a very long time, can't go 10 or 12 receptions for 90 yards and a touchdown. If you told me he had over 8 receptions on Sunday, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. He's a death by 1,000 cuts wide receiver. He's fantastic. He's versatile. He can catch a deep ball, can play in the slot. He can do everything in between. He's one of the more unheralded, undervalued wide receivers in the NFL. The Cardinals know him intimately. So going into Sunday, it's the same thing as last week, and I'll touch on this again in Path to Victory next segment. Pass rush will be the best friend of this inferior cornerback room as it currently sits. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. What else do the Cardinals need to do in an effort to win on Sunday? I'm just excited for Kyler Murray to come back, man. I am. I 2 weeks away. It's going to be like Christmas come early. I'm stoked. But the Cardinals need to figure out what to do in an effort to stay relevant and competitive until he does come back. I'll discuss the list next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks. The most fun I've had, winning up to 25 times my cheese this football season. You just select 2 or more players, pick more or less in their projected stats, and place your entry. It's just you against the projections. You're not playing against anybody else. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, enormous selection of players and stats types are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. They offer weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value. They now offer Apple Pay for quick and easy deposits into your account for the football season. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code LockedOnNFL for a deposit match, your first deposit match, up to $100. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is also brought to you by DoorDash. I use DoorDash a lot. A lot. I work from home, man. I'm on calls all day, doing podcasts, doing everything in between. And I don't have time to go out and get food. I don't always have food in the house. So I use DoorDash, okay? For game days, week 7, sitting on your keister. DoorDash can help. You can order wings, soda, burgers, or even just, whatever you want at DoorDash and get it all delivered without missing the game. Chips, dips, nachos, whatever it is. Kick back and kick off with undeniable and unbeatable deals on everything you need for the watch party or tailgate. So get 50% off up to $10 value when you spend $15 or more on your first order when you download the DoorDash app and enter code LOCKED23. That's a 50% off up to $10 value when you spend $15 or more on your first order when you download the DoorDash app and enter code LOCKED23. Subject to change. Subject to change. Terms apply. Okay, so Cardinals are 1-5. Not pretty, really. But division rivals. Cardinals have played well, as Corbin Smith of Locked On Seahawks and I discussed yesterday. They play well at Lumen Field, CenturyLink, whatever the sponsor is for their stadium up there. And they compete. They play ugly football a lot of times, but they compete and it's close. What do the Cardinals need to do to stay close or actually come out of Lumen Field in week 7 with a W? 1, this will be every week. Spoiler alert, everydayers, win the turnover battle. The Cardinals cannot turn the ball over. Can't afford to. They cannot afford to turn the ball over. And it's an impossibly tough task. Impossible. But they can't turn the ball over if they want to win. They don't have the defensive fortitude in an effort to stop teams, especially teams that have short fields after a turnover by the Cardinals. And when the Cardinals turn over the opposing offense, they have trouble getting in the end zone, especially in the second half. We saw it in the first half of last week against the Rams. They have to win the turnover battle, 1. Number 2, and this is going to be something different that I'm pivoting from what I discussed the last 2 weeks. Josh Dobbs needs to run more. They need to get design runs in the game. Obviously, keep him out of harm's way, but the run game ain't it without James Conner. I said for the last 2 weeks, and I'm allowed to change my mind. Plot twist, that Joshua Dobbs needs to stay behind the line of scrimmage as much as possible, obviously to keep him healthy, but also to be able to move the ball down the field in a more controlled manner instead of, scramble, hope you can get a couple yards here. So using his legs is one thing that Drew Petzing was able to infuse into this offense to keep opposing defenses guessing and allowing the Cardinals to move the ball down the field more effectively than they have in recent weeks. And it's something that they just need to, it's a wrinkle, maybe 4 runs, 2 or 3 design runs, RPO, whatever it is. Be able to utilize Joshua Dobbs' full skill set and not just having him sit inside the pocket or, be elusive outside the pocket, whatever it may be. And that's something that will give the Cardinals a little bit more leverage offensively, maybe to be able to circumvent what could happen with the defense on the field, even with Budda Baker back. With that, the third one is, as I mentioned in the last segment, they've got, first of all, to not allow the deep ball. Geno Smith is very effective with the deep ball. They haven't thrown the ball down the field that much. I mean, you saw DK Metcalf and his demonstrative nature on the field a couple times this year when he hasn't gotten the ball thrown deep to him. That's something that the Cardinals can't afford. They can't afford quick touchdowns. They've got to get this game and keep it ugly. Have the defense keep them in the game and allow the offense to eat. Hopefully, that's obviously the goal. Win the turnover battle. Utilize Joshua Dobbs' full skill set. And you cannot let DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett just have career days. I know it's a tall task. I know these are things that I talk about every week, but these are the weaknesses of the Arizona Cardinals roster right now. So they need to be reiterated every week until things change, which is going to take, this season and next offseason. But I think the Cardinals could win this game. I don't think they will, but I think it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be within a score, and the Cardinals are going to continue to show that proof of concept that we've seen through the first 6 weeks. There is no reason to believe otherwise. And that is a fantastic situation to be in as Kyler Murray gets healthy and gets ready for his return in the next couple of weeks. Alex Clancy, Locked on Cardinals. I'll talk to you Monday.